Good morning. Thank you so much for letting me stand up here and talk. I really am honored to do it. Let's see here. There is a line in one of my favorite songs that goes, "I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery." It's a song called First Day of My Life. The musicians are Bright Eyes, and it's a beautiful song. But with all due respect to them and that song, when I hear that line, "I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery," I think, not me. I mean, I am a product of this occasionally great but always capitalist nation. I grew up poor, and all the things I've been able to move on from, I still and perhaps always will genuinely like work. I understand that some of us might prefer putting effort into steering things our way by valuing the products of our labor rather than sitting and being and believing and maintaining that someday, as if by magic, the ultimate abundance will be showered upon us. But like I said, in terms of I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery, not me. I will work, and I will wait for magic too. Thank you very much. Work seems so practical. If I put in this amount of effort for this many hours, then this predetermined amount of reward will be allotted to me as a direct result. I want to indulge the idea that we are more than we could ever comprehend, that we can be showered with joy if we are open to it, that there are things beyond our control that provide us so much more than we could plan or expect or earn. Maybe that's why I love New Year's. There's this incredible mix of intentions for both a renewed sense of what we will do to make our reality more in line with what we want it to be, and also lots of things that we can do to bring luck, an opportunity for a fresh start. There's, of course, the New Year's resolution. And I feel like resolutions get a bad rap. How many of you, just out of curiosity, have made or will make a New Year's resolution? A few of you. Setting some lofty goal that requires you to upend your life as you know it from this day forward is perhaps fairly unattainable, or actually requires you to become somewhat of, or mostly, or even entirely a different person, maybe asking a lot, right? I had thought of that New Year's resolutions were destined to fail, right? I don't know if that's everyone's idea, but that's the rap I think they get. Maybe that was my own record keeping of my own results, honestly, because when I looked at the research, it was surprising. I was surprised. 37% of Americans set a New Year's resolution. Seems like a lot to me. Less than 37% of you are setting a New Year's resolution. 45% of those people set not one, but an average of 3 New Year's resolutions, which seems very industrious. And I bet you could guess the most common New Year's resolutions for 2024. They are improve fitness, improve finances, improve mental health, lose weight, improve diet, make more time for loved ones, stop smoking, learn a new skill. These are in order of commonality or commonness. Stop smoking, learn a new skill, make more time for hobbies, improve work-life balance, travel more, meditate regularly, drink less alcohol, and perform better at work. The average resolution lasts about, any guesses? Longer than that. 3 months. The average resolution. Only 2% of resolutions last 12 months and stop, and 6% last in an ongoing way, past even the year. So that seemed pretty successful to me. I mean, I'm not the judge, but when I think of that 3 months, which is less than a year, yeah, but I think of someone working on improving their mental health, and I'm really proud of them for those 3 months and beyond, and know that they can start again whenever they want, right? And now they have this new 3 months of information that they knew what worked and what didn't work, and they can make changes and try again. So I think in my initial sort of casting off of resolutions as a bad idea, I might take a hint from some of you and realize that there's a way to do it well, right? And then there's all those things people do for luck, like Marcia was saying earlier, the grapes. I have the grapes on my list here, but I like Marcia's description more, because my description of that practice is that you're supposed to eat exactly 12 grapes for each of the strokes of midnight. So that's a fast eating of grapes. And in addition to that, they don't count unless you are simultaneously ruminating on their significance. So 1 stroke of midnight grape, ruminate on their significance. 2nd stroke grape, ruminate on its significance. I definitely would be choking my way into the new year. Right? In Turkey, pomegranates are a symbol of abundance. Eating them is great, sure, but if you really want a good 2024, you'll smash the fruit on your doorstep. Certain countries believe that the color of your underwear can bring good things to you in the next 12 months. Yellow is for luck, red is for love, and white brings peace. In Japan, it's traditional to eat toshikoshi soba, which is long noodles, and they are symbolizing longevity, long life, good luck, fertility. To Greeks, this was my favorite one. Onions to Greeks. Oh, you can confirm, maybe. To Greeks, onions are hung in bundles on the door as a means of inviting that prosperity into the home, and this is why it's my favorite. On New Year's Day, parents also wake up their children by gently bonking their kids on the head with those onions that were outside. Happy New Year to them, right? Yes, and of course we know the countless others, a kiss at midnight and eat black-eyed peas. Incidentally, I have left you my favorite black-eyed peas recipe back on the table back there. It's for black-eyed peas salsa, which I'm not Southern. I apologize to anyone who's like got their strict black-eyed peas recipe, but this one's for me. I do think that if you're looking for something new or something in addition, perhaps to the traditional resolutions and pleas for luck, there's just a couple things, all that I'm not sure about, right? But there are a couple things that I'm pretty certain of. Maybe they will be helpful to you. One is that most of us are not very good at knowing what we really want. It is human to imagine that losing weight or having some opportunity or material good will bring us the life we always wanted. Instead, what often happens is that once we get that thing, we do not bask in the light of whatever that accomplishment was, but we pretty quickly come up with the next step, right? Now I want this other thing. And so we're in this constant striving and no sitting in this contentment that we had imagined for ourselves. There is a book and a practice called the Desire Map by Danielle Laporte. And desire mapping is a practice of, instead of doing it that way around, first identifying how you want to feel, and then deciding how you can feel that way. And they can be big things, but mostly in its success, in my opinion, is in the little things, right? So if I decide that I want to have a deeper and more day-to-day feeling of abundance, for instance, I can now make decisions every day that will lend to that. So if I have an extra hour, I can decide that I could go grocery shopping. Maybe that would make me feel really abundant to have all the food I need for the coming week ready for me. Or maybe it would feel more abundant for me to sit on the couch and just bask in that space, allowing myself some open time. And I can make that decision really consciously to decide if that will give me more abundance. Small decision after small decision will more tangibly offer us the feeling we are seeking more successfully than guessing at what one big gain will bring us. Gretchen Rubin is a happiness researcher who, for the last several years, makes a list of things that she wants to accomplish for the year. Similar to that desire map idea, she chooses a word of the year. Hers are sometimes obvious, like abundance, but sometimes more abstract, and I often wonder how she's going to do it. So her list of things really helps. Some of her passwords have been upgrade, dark, make, and bigger. So some of those seem like, abstract. Obviously, what she means by each one of those is really important as she makes her list. Then she makes a list, this year 24 things for 2024 that she wants to accomplish. They can be one-time things, a single visit to a museum, which seems pretty, on the whole grand scheme of things, easy to accomplish, or long-term habit changes like the list I was reading before. But all things relate to her word and all things she intends to attend to in the coming year. The other thing that I'm pretty certain of is that intention matters with all of these things, right? Seeking the luck, seeking the resolution, they bring what we want to the forefront. I think that's why I love these practices. It's not all perfect or maybe even entirely attainable, but they do force us to think about where we are and where we want to be. And the best free resource I have seen for that is called the Year Compass. And you can get that free at yearcompass.com. It's a free guide that helps you review your last year and take a look at the year to come. It asks you questions like, what were your 3 biggest challenges last year? How did you overcome them? And what did you learn about yourself in the process? And then it asks you questions about what you intend for the coming year, like, what 3 things will you love about yourself this year? What 3 things are you ready to let go of? And what 3 things will you dare to discover? In general, what I hope for us is the time to imagine what our best 2024 would feel like. Not so we can force things that don't work or weren't what we expected, or to judge ourselves harshly and think of ourselves as a success or failure, but so that we can live a life that is full for that year and intentional. For whatever little control we actually have, we can bring to fruition the ideas, the feelings, and experiences that will fill us with the most gratitude a year from now. And I've been, doing this research and writing this piece for a while. And just last night, I was finishing it up, and I came across this sort of story poem by Liam Etanetta, and it's called Bingo Cards. And I'm going to read it to you now. Almost a year ago, Mara and Audrey, roommates, decidedly did not make New Year's resolutions. They made bingo cards. Even though they were young 20-somethings and freshly out of college, and the perfect people for hustle culture to be pushed upon, they said, "No, we're good, thanks. We're not in a rush. Maybe we will move after our lease ends. Maybe I'll run a 10K this year. Maybe we'll go to a new country. And maybe I'll get into grad school. And maybe they will all line up in a random way, and we'll say, bingo, to ourselves in the mirror one morning. Or maybe none of them will happen. Maybe we won't move or start a new job this year, but at least we will not pretend that we do not already love ourselves enough to know that progress is not linear and healing is slow. And if we must take a little bit of our savings out this year, we will not feel like failures. A bingo card for the year is fun. It's the fruity drink you order at the bar because you're tired of pretending you actually like the taste of New Year's resolutions. Mara and Audrey did move, Audrey did start a new job. Mara did get into grad school, and they both got bingos. And alongside that black eyed peas recipe are bingo cards for you if you would like to fill one out as a sort of way to dream up. Let's see, it's more than 12. 5, 10, 15, 24 opportunities to name some things that you might want to experience this year that you will hold not so tightly as to measure your success or failure by them, but to keep them in your mind as opportunities for wonder and magic and connection and relationship. And I'd like to end our time this morning with just a short guided meditation with the intention of starting to cultivate that imagination of what we might like to bring to our 2024. If you want to get really settled in your chair, if you're not already, planting your feet, resting your hands comfortably, maybe noticing any tension that you're holding in your body. I always hold tension in my neck and shoulders, and if you do too, you might drop your left ear towards your left shoulder gently, and your right ear towards your right shoulder. Maybe roll your head around your neck. Other common places where people hold tension are in the jaw. You could shake out your jaw. Maybe the hands, if you're clenching your hands, you can wiggle those out. Finding a really centered, grounded posture, but not sinking too much, staying tall. And then turning your attention to your breath, you could close your eyes, or you could find a downward gaze if that's more comfortable for you. Start to notice your breath. This is a good opportunity to practice that not judging, not grasping stance. So you're noticing your breath, not to say, oh, that's terrible, not to say, oh, it's too shallow, it's too deep, but just to notice what's going on. Is it hot or cold, fast or slow? What do you feel in the natural cadence of your breath? And then do start to find a slow, steady breath through your nose if you can do it comfortably. I'm going to lead us through a little guided meditation. If you wander off, please feel free to ignore my voice as sort of in the background. This is another good practice to do what feels right for you versus just trudging ahead without any consideration. But if you'd like to follow along, imagine yourself at the base of a walking trail. It's really sunny. You lift your face to the light and feel that welcome sun on your face. And you start walking. Notice the things you notice when you're walking on a walking trail. The different trees, maybe a chipmunk here, a bird there. Something interesting that you hadn't noticed last time you were on this trail. It's quiet. You can hear maybe some dry leaves and sticks crunching under your feet. And you are maintaining that gentle, intentional breath, and you feel that crisp, cool air refreshing you as you go. You start to notice that the path has this slight incline. You're not labored by it, but you notice it. You're actually surprised that you don't feel more tired as you're walking up this now fairly steep incline. The path is bending here, bending there, so you can't see what's ahead, but you feel good. So you keep right on going, noticing how free you feel, how crisp the air is, how good it feels to be moving your body on this sunny morning. You walk and you walk, noticing those trees, noticing any wildlife you come across. Maybe a distant hawk. Maybe the sound of something rustling fairly far away. You turn the next corner and you come to a clearing. You step into the clearing, you recognize you're at the top of a pretty steep hill, one that affords you a really beautiful view. And there's a sitting rock that you can take a break on. You sit down and you just notice the view. Whatever comes to your mind as the most beautiful view. Maybe it's a sunset or a sunrise. Maybe it's a little village below. Maybe a playground or a garden. Whatever, a beach. Whatever comes to your mind as being a really beautiful thing to be surprised with at the end of that path. You sit and you ponder. As you sit, you realize you're feeling restful. You notice you were exerting yourself walking up that steep hill, but at the time it just didn't feel that laborious. You think, oh, why was that so hard? And you realize you've been carrying this backpack the whole time, and you pull it off your back and you look inside, and it has everything that you've been carrying, things that you need. But as you look into it, you're recognizing, oh, actually, this backpack is way heavier than I needed it to be. And you start taking out the things that no longer serve you, things you do not need. Maybe they're physical things. Maybe it's like actual clutter. Maybe that's what would be in my bag. That probably is what is in my bag. Maybe it's a feeling. Maybe it's stress or worry or darkness. And you take it out of your bag and you set it aside. And you realize that you don't need it anymore. It's not really serving a purpose. And maybe if that darkness is connected to something that is helpful, you can sort of separate those two things so that you can continue to honor what you do want, what does serve you, but you can leave the unhelpful part aside. You take 3 really intentional breaths as you pack your bag back up with only the things that will serve you, maybe finding something else that you could really use now that you have all that space in your bag, something that would serve you, something that would make you feel lighter, something that would nourish you. You take those 3 intentional, steady breaths through your nose. Exhaling that same way, fully exhaling all that stale air out to make room for your next nourishing breath. And you start to make your way down. And for whatever joy you had walking up that hill, feeling the sunshine on your face and being in nature and moving your body, all those things are still true. But now on top of that, you feel this joy in your heart for having spent these moments with your own self, with your own thoughts, with your own intentions, taking stock of what is helpful for you and what is not, never judging what you should be or what you should do, but taking time to cultivate a relationship with yourself. And as you continue to walk down that hill, now knowing where you're going, knowing how far is ahead of you, knowing that your bag is lighter, you have a sort of bounce in your step. The ease of coming up is doubled, maybe tripled. And you sort of bound down the trail back, happy to get back to the things in your life that nourish you, that you love, that you're grateful for. And you spend just a moment thinking about those things that you're grateful for, those people that you're grateful for. recognizing that even though you're alone on this walk, you are supported by so much. And maybe you slow down to just drink up a little bit more of that gratitude, that sunshine, that fresh air, those intentions. And when you finally do get to the bottom of the trail, you're certain you have everything you need and nothing extra weighing you down. And you can go forward, not without problems, probably, not without day-to-day inconveniences for sure, but knowing that you have what you need and that you're supported by yourself, your existence, your intentions. Take just one more really intentional deep breath here at the bottom of the trail. And blink, open your eyes when you're ready, or lift your gaze. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me this morning, and Happy New Year.